In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shout it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of your favorite podcast. Your favorite, well, during the quarantine, this has got to be your favorite podcast because all we're doing is watching stuff, and we're very excited. It's Defend Your Movie, ladies and gentlemen, and I am one of your hosts, Sean Donnelly. You call me Dutch, which I was assigned randomly a few months ago. And,
that's not how I remember it.
And my co-host, the beard is coming back, the very 70s haired Andy Fiore, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Cool Breeze here, back in action.
Andy?
Yeah, my hair is getting long and it gets like that 70s feathered look.
And, really excited because, the best episodes we have on this show are the ones that we can be the most passionate about. And we're bringing back a friend of the show, but also, dare I say, heel of the show? Dare I say?
Well, we used to feud.
What? We had a feud, and but besides that, the last time, it's Pasquale Stango, everybody. It's Pat Stango.
Hello.
You know who he is. He's been on the show before. He's one of my best pals. The guy knows what he's talking about here. Super funny guy. But here's the thing. Last time you were on, I think people who are listening to this from the beginning will know that you defended the John Travolta Gotti.
Yeah, that's right.
And you pretended like you weren't being
Why do you
sarcastic.
keep saying pretend? It was a good movie.
Because of the faces that you made when we had the episode. I know
faces of just wonderment and excitement about a new American gangster classic, Gotti. The movie past produced Gotti.
People can hear it in that sentence right there because they know you're absolutely wrong. But anyway, we've moved on from that, and now we're at...
I thought today was the rewatch of Gotti episode. Am I
wrong? But here's the thing, man. You brought up a great idea, so I said, let's get on it and we'll do an episode. And a lot of people, I think, have strong opinions about this. And before we get to it, I'll announce the topic and then we can go to what do you watch. The topic today is a really interesting one. We're gonna battle out all the movies that Tarantino wrote but didn't direct, which is the big three. Which the big three of these was From Dusk Till Dawn, True Romance, and Natural Born Killers. So we were kind of getting into it, not pre-show, but even doing the episode. Me and Pat were talking about it, and I think it's a great topic. But before we get into that, Andy, did you watch anything for this week? Or?
Yeah, I got on a big kick this week. I watched like 4 movies in the last 4 days.
You did?
I started with, last night I watched Molly's Game, based on the true story.
Great movie.
Very enjoyable poker movie. Not your
and it's
round.
Soderbergh, right? It's Soderbergh.
Yeah, it was good.
It's
It was
Sorkin.
enjoyable.
Is it Soderbergh and Sorkin?
It's just Sorkin. He wrote
It's just
and directed
Sorkin.
it.
It was
Sorkin. He wrote and
by
directed.
Soderbergh. Yeah, but that was enjoyable. That Jessica Chastain is like sneaky good. I enjoy her in small clips, I think.
You know what I reminded me of, and it's not language-wise, but like tone-wise, a David Mamet movie. David Mamet.
Yeah, Sorkin's like that, very fast-paced dialogue, This wasn't the most Sorkin-y thing he's ever done, but it was enjoyable. Like, it's good inside poker, inside that world of like private back room games. So I enjoyed it. Good Netflix watch.
And what else did you watch?
I watched The Way Back with Ben Affleck. He's coaching a youth basketball team. He's a guy down on his luck, alcoholic. Pretty shitty.
Really?
Well, I'm surprised. I kind of was excited to watch it.
Oh man! So you bought it? You did the $20 rental?
No, I do. My cable is on demand. It was like $6.99, but I did buy it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to do it.
I thought that was on Netflix, no?
No, it's on video on demand. And I'll say this, Affleck, I like. He's usually pretty solid, but this followed a pretty formulaic script. You kind of knew what was going to happen. You've seen this story before. Nothing surprising here. Maybe a little bit of a unique take on it, but not for me.
You know what, man? That's where the business part of Hollywood comes in, where they're like, they're counting their, basically they're checking off their boxes and they're going, we'll make X amount off it. Let's put it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they go, we got Affleck, we got a solid, it's like, you can almost see them saying, solid script, you got Affleck, it's a topic people like, it's a story that's been like, it's like a retelling of a story a lot of people have seen before. So I think they do that as far as just to get something out, you know?
Yeah.
And
the
also,
last one I watched, Guy Ritchie's latest one, The Gentleman. Which
I gotta see that too.
Yeah, but I'm worried that I'll hate it. How was it?
It was a good Guy Ritchie film, but a little slow for the pacing. That was my only gripe. It had very classic Guy Ritchie dialogue. It had very classic Guy Ritchie acting tropes, but it just moved in a weird pace for me. Overall, I enjoyed it. I won't say
how was Hugh Grant? Wasn't
Hugh Grant
he
was
a gangster
good.
in
You haven't
this?
really seen Hugh Grant like this. It was an interesting character.
Yeah, not since Mickey Blue Eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I like Hugh Grant was good. Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy. You guys might know him.
Oh yeah, how did he do?
He was really good.
Here's the thing.
In it, but it's got
He's
all
a guy,
classic, like English Guy Ritchie gangster cliches that you kind of love from Snatch. It's very reminiscent of that.
Charlie Hunnam is an actor that, as he's been famous, he's been learning how to act. You notice that?
Oh yeah, totally.
If you watch Charlie Hunnam in the beginning of Sons of Anarchy, and I'm sure, and in this movie, you'll see a maturation, whatever you want to call it. Like, you'll see him grow as an actor, because even by the end of Sons of Anarchy, he was a better actor.
Oh yeah, like seasons 1 and 2, you could hear his accent at some points in his dialogue.
Yes,
like
yeah,
Sons
you
of
could,
Anarchy.
yeah. So what else? You have two more, right? You have a bunch.
No, the one more was the fourth one. Juliet Naked. Do you guys know that one? It's, based on a Nick Hornby book. That guy writes books that are usually become great movies. He wrote High Fidelity, obviously, about a boy. Speaking of Hugh Grant. And, piece of shit. Not really great. I didn't like it at all.
I liked the book. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing, but it's about basically this one guy who's obsessed with this musician, Tucker Crowe, to the point of like he runs an online forum and he's got bootlegs and nobody's seen or heard from this guy since like 1993. And through all sorts of movie magic, his live-in girlfriend of 15 years somehow corresponds with Tucker Crowe and they kind of start a pen pal relationship, and I won't spoil it for anybody else from there. But it's Rose Byrne and Chris O'Dowd, who I've liked a lot. I see him in a lot of things. He was also in Molly's Game, which I watched. I like that guy, man. He's always usually about 100%.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's a great little funny actor. He can kind of do dramatic stuff too. But yeah, Ethan Hawke is the other lead in it. It's Rose Byrne. It's like the cast was great. It was just like, all right, kind of a rom. It was just a rom-commy kind of thing with no real substance.
With nothing unique about it?
Nah, I mean, I read the book, so I gave it a chance, but I like Nick Hornby, so I figured why not? It was, I was Saturday, I was so bored, I watched like 3 movies all in one day, so.
Does it deliver on the title?
What's that?
Does it deliver on the title?
No, it's a reference to, his most famous album is called Juliet, and somebody discovers a acoustic bootleg, so it's Juliet Naked.
Oh, shut the fuck up! Oh my god!
And Cameron Crowe didn't
see Rose Byrne
movie?
Naked. It would have been a 10 times better movie.
Yeah, how is this not almost famous too?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's one of those things where it's like, all right, yeah. Pat, did you watch any movies this week or no?
But let me see. Have I watched any movies while I've been inside 24 hours a day for the last month?
Wait a minute, there's a lot of TV to watch too.
See, you know, I've only watched movies. This quarantine has taught me I don't give a shit about TV. I only care about movies because I have
I'm doing it all.
Movies, and I still have not started The Wire. So I think that means I'm never going to watch it because I'm not. If I don't watch it now, it ain't happening.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Pat. I'm in the midst of my rewatch right now. I'm like right in the middle of season 4. It doesn't hold up as strong as I loved it the first time around. It's still great. It's my fucking opinion. You shut up. It's still great.
All right.
But it's not as good. I don't think it's as good as Sopranos time after time and time again. I think Sopranos and Breaking Bad's better.
No, if you're already,
it's slow, man. It's slow and a lot of tedious shit.
Dude, you're out of your head. First off, you're out of your head.
Anytime you disagree with Sean, you're out of your head. You're mentally unstable.
Because, especially if you're our age. If you're our age, it holds up. You remember flip phones, don't you? You remember page phones?
Did you hear me? I didn't say it didn't hold up.
What are you, a TikTok star now? You can't take shit from back in the day?
Not at all. I just said it doesn't hold up as well as Sopranos. It's not my favorite.
All right. Well, you're wrong, but I'll give it to you.
So you like Wire over Sopranos and Breaking Bad?
Yes, 100%.
You're out of your mind.
100%. Acting wise, story wise, consistency of seasons.
A lot of slow.
Badass characters. Oh yeah. You don't think Sopranos got slow a little bit sometimes? Some of those storylines.
I admit that,
suck.
but every
time he was there for the main part of the show with Dr. Melfi, terrible. Only a couple
I can say
moments.
The same thing for all of season 4. Anything going on in the classroom.
What?
Yeah, all the kids. I don't give a shit about the kids.
Are you crazy? TV
I fast forward every scene with
hail that as one of the best television seasons in the history of television.
Nah,
it's amazing. You just don't like the show then.
I like the show. I'm rewatching.
You don't. If you said season 4 has been heralded as the best season of that show. Most people go after season 2 or they go after the last season, and I love all of it. But season 2, I can see taking you out of it a little bit because you're like, oh, well,
season 2 is my favorite one.
Yeah, because you're a fucking dock worker. That's why.
So movies.
Because you got the look. So anyway, movies. Yeah, let's get back to movies. I watched.
I gotta say what I watched. You asked me a question, Sean.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
One that I watched last night that I actually had never seen was, have you ever seen Limitless with Bradley Cooper?
Yes,
good movie.
It's so much fun.
It's great.
Fun movie.
It's so fun. I don't know why I never watched it until yesterday.
They had a TV spinoff, and not to go back to TV, but I was in the TV spinoff.
Really? You were in the Bradley Cooper part?
Yeah. I played the Bradley Cooper role in the TV spinoff. Can you believe it?
I can see you playing the Croatian gangster guy that he's friends with. That it's so fun at the end when he's smart, after he takes the smart pill.
Why does everybody think I'm so dumb? I'm smart. I can do things. No, there was an episode. There was an episode where somebody was hacking robotic arms that people were getting as prostheses. What's the word? Now that I say I'm smart, prosthesis. They were hacking these robotic arms that people had, and they were making them do like crazy shit. And in the beginning, they're showing all the examples of them being hacked. And I'm a chef in a back of a kitchen going, all right, so we got the critic from the Times here. And I want you guys in your best behavior. And I put my hands on the counter, and one of the chefs just takes the knife and goes and cuts off my fingers.
Oh, that's bad. American television.
Yeah, it's aired on CBS, and I look at him in shock, and I go, "You cut off my fingers!"
How have I not seen this?
I gotta send it to you. I think I have the clip somewhere.
It's on your reel?
I gotta put the clip online. It's on my reel. Yeah, it's on my reel.
Wow.
But it's pretty fun. I thought that's so funny. But, what do you think of Limitless?
Oh,
I love it because it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's so much fun.
It gets right to it, where the premise is guy takes a pill, becomes smart, and there's no real, it's like, how does he find the pill? I don't know. He's friends with a guy who has the pill.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They knew what that was right away.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what that was. They also, to be honest, is like that, the ending is pretty cool. Like the ending it's not as bad as an ending as it could have been.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
It's just
so fun.
It's like a fun, trashy movie. Like, even you wonder with Bradley Cooper, like, he's a smart guy. Like, even he probably knew what it was when he was doing it.
Oh, yeah.
That's like when they're sitting there, they go, you do a studio picture? You do a studio picture, then you do one for you. That's the present.
No, he's a movie star. It's so much fun just seeing a movie star just walk around in a suit being a movie star. It's great.
And the fact that you have De Niro in it is like, man, De Niro's like, hey, De Niro's becoming Michael Caine. He'll just do anything.
Yeah, really. Can say no.
You know that I said it on the podcast, the famous Michael Caine quote where he goes, they go, what goes into making your decisions about movies? He goes, if there's a paycheck, I'll do it. I think I said that last week, so I apologize to the defenders. But anyway, so, I watched something and I watched it because of another movie. So you guys, I love Quiz Show, the movie. It's really such a great movie.
Yeah.
And you know the movie they mentioned in the question, Marty, the 1955 Best Picture winner? I watched Marty.
With Mickey Rooney, right?
Cause it was after I watched, you know why I watched it? Cause I watched 12 Angry Men for another episode we did, and it came up on my Amazon. So I watched Marty. It's with Ernest Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine, right.
And honestly, it was a nice little movie for the most part, but it's so outdated because the whole story is that there's this lonely fat guy that lives with his mom, and he just wants to be with somebody, and he always just goes out with his friends, and his friend's kind of an asshole, and his friend kind of relies on him to be as a wingman, but then it doesn't give a shit about him really. And he meets this girl that is, like, the whole premise is that he meets this girl that's not that attractive and he likes her a lot, but all of his friends are like, don't worry about her. She's a dog. She's a dog. They keep using the phrase, she's a dog. So now in this time, you're kind of watching it like, easy, buddy. So I thought they were going to have their whole, like, relationship in the movie because that's how they would do it now. Right. But all the movie is that they meet, the next day comes, he hasn't called her yet, he's hanging out with his friends, and the last scene of the movie is his friends being like, what do you guys want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? And he's sitting there steaming because he can't talk to this girl because his friends don't like her. And then out of nowhere he just goes, what do I care what you guys think? I'm going to call this girl. And then he goes in on the payphone and calls the girl. And I'm like, that's the whole movie. That's it. And I'm like, wow, there was way lower standards back in 55 for Best Picture winner in the Oscars. But it was all, besides that, like, Ernest Borgnine's good, he's good at it. Like, it's also funny that he went from a 1955 Best Picture Oscar to doing basketball with a hot dog flying in and out of his mouth while he's getting the Heimlich maneuver.
Well, I don't think it was the next movie.
No, there was about 40 years in between that, but still.
Yeah, he had a whole runway before.
Yeah, but it's still pretty weird. But yeah, so that's what I watched. It was interesting. I was on like kind of an old movie kick. I was going to rewatch Rear Window, but I didn't, so I watched that. And then there's a couple more that I'm going to watch from like way back. Like It Happened One Night I'm going to watch, which I think is Cary Grant, and then a couple others. Cause I was like, they're kind of nice. They're kind of a break from everything else, you know?
Yeah.
But that was, when I say watch Marty, if you watch the first 20 minutes to get the feel of what a Best Picture winner for 1955 is like, but you don't have to watch the whole thing. I just told you what the movie was.
Well, now too, you might as well recommend everything to anyone because time doesn't matter anymore. So it's like, watch Marty. It stinks. Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Go on your phone while you're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
So should we get to the topic of the day there, Andrew?
Surely.
So here's the thing. It was Pat's idea. So Pat also told me something very interesting because, and I had to just like with Andy, I'm going to reevaluate our friendship every episode. I'm going to reevaluate.
I think I know what it is.
Well, you said, okay, so here we go. Yeah. So the way we thought of it was like a three-way battle of these three movies. What these things have been coming is a discussion. You can argue the good points and the bad points of both, but we should decide at the end if anybody's mind has been changed about which one's the best. I have my opinion which one's the best one.
Same.
Pat has his, which is batshit crazy. And before I get to Pat, let's go to Pat because he's the guest first. Pat's favorite
treat your guest.
Reintroduce the topic again.
Crazy.
Pat's favorite one, Andy, is Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, you told me this, and out of those three, that's number 3 on my list.
Number 3 on my list. And I hand over the wand to you, my friend. Tell me why out of these three movies is Natural Born Killers the best. I'll give you your opening arguments in court.
So, it also has some personal connection for me because I saw in the theater with my family when I was 10.
You and your wife murdered a bunch of people across the country.
Well, that too. It inspired us. It inspired our careers as serial killers / celebrities.
Well, one thing I love is that Natural Born Killers was a family movie that you guys watched when you were 10.
Yeah. So I saw it
great.
with my parents and my sister, who at the time I was 10 and she was 7, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe I was 11 and 8. Well, my mom thought it was...
Is wildly inappropriate for a mother. I'll fill in that sentence.
Your mom thought what?
I think she went into it thinking it was a Woody Harrelson comedy. Because she was like, oh, it's Woody from Cheers. He's so funny on Cheers. It's this ironic time.
It's got Rodney Dangerfield in it.
It's got Rodney
Carol in it.
It's got Caddyshack guy. It's got Woody Harrelson from Cheers.
Oh
because the
God.
commercials were like very peppy. You know, it's like presented as like a comedy.
I don't think they were.
Well, I think she thought it was a Woody from Cheers movie. My dad knew what it was, but he just wanted to go. And my sister had no choice.
That
But
sounds like my dad.
my mom and my sister left after, I think, the first scene, or maybe like right in the middle of the Rodney.
That was going to be my question.
scene.
I was like, how did you guys
Yeah.
last the whole film?
No, they left, and my sister is still mad about it to this day, because then my mom took her out. They went to go see Wagons East, which is
The John Candy movie?
yeah, the John Candy final movie, which was terrible. But me and my dad stayed, and we loved it.
Oh my God. And did
So it's
you?
got that emotional, family memory tied in for me.
That's so funny because
think
for
of it
me,
as
I had to rent it. I wasn't allowed to go see it at all. I couldn't, I don't know why. I was big on sneaking into the movies. I did it all the time, but I finally was able to rent it, and I rented it in secret. And if I heard my parents coming downstairs to our basement, I would dive and turn the TV off.
Oh, that's so
Because
fun. I used to go
my
see
mom
movies like that with my
forbade
dad
me to watch
all
that
the
movie.
time.
No, my
I used to-
parents bought me popcorn at it.
My dad, me and my dad saw Lethal Weapon 2 when I was like 12 years old.
I just rewatched that yesterday, by the way.
It's great.
amazing.
It's great. It's great. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then I used to watch movies. Even when I went to go see, I guess I was a little bit older, but I even saw Pulp Fiction when I was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Pulp
And
Fiction
that
in
was
theater
like-
a couple times.
And that was traumatizing. That was weird. The GIMP scene, if you're not expecting that, it's
No.
Right. And
But
did
you're-
you know what the GIMP was then?
I didn't understand. I have told this story before. I read Parade magazine in Newsday out in Long Island. They had like a mini review of Pulp Fiction, and they mentioned the sodomy, and I didn't even know what the word meant.
Right.
And I was kind of like, I don't know, something's not right. And I remember being so nervous to go see it with my dad. And then when the whole GIMP scene came up, I didn't fully know what I just knew it was creepy. I didn't think of it as like,
same.
oh, it's a guy in a random suit. Like I didn't know what it, thank God I didn't know what it, if I knew what
the sex
S&M was
slave.
when I was 15, like I had no idea. So
Yeah, I figured he was like another villain. I didn't know he was there for pleasure.
yeah.
You know, like I didn't know he was a pleasure tool. I just assumed he was like
I didn't know he was part of the party.
No, I didn't know he was. I thought he's like, oh, this guy's real badass. He's all leather. He's gonna do karate or something. I didn't know that he was a sex toy.
The GIMP as a superhero.
Yeah.
Well,
I always
anyway,
felt bad
so-
for him because he was kept in a box. They were like, should we wake up to GIMP? I was like, well, do they feed him? What is the rest of his day look like?
Yeah.
What does the rest of his day look like?
You know what the rest of his day is our days now.
Yes.
Our days, we're gimps. We're all a bunch of gimps out there during quarantine.
We get out of the box and do a podcast, and then we get back into the box.
You guys,
Should we
I think
take
the GIMP
Sean
made it out
out
alive.
of the box?
Right? The GIMP made it out alive. He just got punched
No.
and knocked out.
He got knocked out, but was he knocked out or was he hanging from the thing?
I think if you look, that thing is chained to his back, not his neck. I think.
Oh, okay.
Because he just, I don't know. I think the GIMP's alright. I think
Anyway,
the GIMP
my
went
point-
on, became an accountant. He's fine.
My point being that I watch some of these movies like this. So Natural Born Killers holds a special place in your heart, almost like a fireplace on Christmas Eve, like a real, yeah. And but movie wise, explain to me why it outshines the other two.
Okay, so if you look at these three movies, they're all written by Tarantino, not directed by him. I guess I rewatched True Romance recently, and it doesn't hold up for me.
I
think that. I think Natural Born Killers to me is the most It's definitely directed by the best director of these three movies. Oliver Stone.
No,
Oliver Stone is the best director.
Oliver Stone's a fucking hack.
Robert Rodriguez. No, he's not. It's like your favorite movie ever.
No, it's not, because he fucked up. Once I knew about stuff about JFK, it's
a great movie, though. It's a good movie. He doesn't have to prove who did the assassination. It's a great movie.
It's a good movie, but it's wildly inaccurate.
But so of these three movies, Oliver Stone, I think, is by far the most interesting director.
I like Tony Scott.
Natural Born Killers feels the most like a film that has something going on. True Romance, to me, feels like he's good. He's good for his action movies. This movie, though, it's like the most Tarantino script, but it is the Tarantino script that doesn't have Tarantino doing the cool direction.
Right, and also you know what happened. He took the original script and he chopped it up like crazy.
Well, Natural Born Killers he did.
Oh, Natural Born Killers, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
True Romance?
Yeah, True Romance is probably the most Tarantino-y script of those three movies. Like, it's just people talking about
and also because he kept the integrity.
Very little was changed. Very little was changed from the script by Tony Scott.
He kept the integrity of the script and the timeline of the movie. That's why the Killers is my least favorite, because he just tried to make it his own instead of appreciating how good the script probably was before he touched it.
It's a fucking cartoon.
Yeah,
why would you want that if you?
Because it's Oliver Stone. Because I want to see him make a movie that's his point of view. I don't want to see Tony Scott just like try to do Tarantino style.
Well, here's where you can make an argument for all three of these is, would you have rather seen these movies under the helm of Tarantino? Would you rather see all three of these be directed by Tarantino and have
the only one
vision? Or are you happy with the final versions of what we have them today?
That's a great question.
The best final version, to be honest, and it's not even my favorite out of the movies, is From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn is like, I don't think Tarantino could have done a better job than Robert Rodriguez did on From Dusk Till Dawn directing wise, because he's more suited for that.
To me, From Dusk Till Dawn feels like a Robert Rodriguez movie. It doesn't feel like Tarantino, besides being in it. If you told me somebody else wrote that script, I would have been like, yeah, sure, that's fine. It's a complete grindhouse kind of film. True Romance, when you go, yeah, that kind of sounds, even feels like a Tarantino movie. I go, sure. Natural Born Killers doesn't even feel like an Oliver Stone movie. I mean, he's kind of all over the map, but I don't know. I like From Dusk. I have a personal connection to it too. The first time I saw it, I was on a hockey tournament, and me and my dad just watched it in a hotel room. I also watched one of these movies alone with my dad, Pat. Same thing.
That's what's going to make you like a Tarantino movie the most. Is which one did you see way too young with your dad?
Yeah. Well, From Dusk Till Dawn, I just wanted to say, because you mentioned that before, there's a ton of Tarantino language. Okay, vampire hunters, let's hunt some vampire. That's a Tarantino line. Like they had the Sex Machine telling the story. There's a lot, that's monologue-ish for Tarantino. I think that this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think that Oliver Stone chops up Natural Born Killers enough to make it less Tarantino-y than From Dusk Till Dawn is.
Yes, 100%.
Because of how much he fucked up the storyline and how much because I'm dying. I would love to read the original script of Natural Born Killers. Because
it's online. I read it forever ago. It is a lot. It's much different. Though there's way more scenes that are pretty much the same than you would think. Like
how much they take out?
The opening, I remember, is pretty much the same. It's not nearly as much, if I remember, about the sort of media surrounding of it. And I don't think there's a Native American chief who gives him ayahuasca in the middle of the movie. That's a very Oliver Stone.
That's very Oliver Stone, yeah.
Dusk Till Dawn might work the best because Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino are the most similar. Like, Oliver Stone is a totally different generation than Tarantino, and so
a totally different
Tony Scott.
mindset and setup.
Whereas, like, Robert Rodriguez and him are just best friends who came up at the same time.
And to be honest, they were probably, you could almost guess they were co-directing the movie together. Because I'm sure he was on set because they're buddies, and I saw From Dusk Till Dawn just by chance, not because I was some diehard fan. I did love Tarantino. I was obsessed with Tarantino at the time. I saw that like 5 times in the movies. Because I saw it with my friends. I saw it alone. I went on a date to go see it. Then I went on another group like hangout thing when I was like 17 or whatever it was, or 18, whenever it came out. So I've seen it a ton of times, and it's a really fun movie. Natural Born Killers, I don't think that holds up. I think it becomes really hokey after a while.
Oh, I watched
it's so cartoony. I hate it.
Yeah, but it's meant to be. Like, it's not.
I understand. I like how the message of like mass media glorification, because that rings very true today. That was kind of ahead of its time, and how mass media narrates whatever it wants the story to be. I like that part of it.
Yeah, I don't think anything of it is a mistake. It's definitely the goofiness of it is part of what he wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think what I like about that more than the
Dangerfield scene and stuff like that.
The Dangerfield scene being a fake sitcom, and he keeps like mixing the style of the video throughout, which is pretty cool. I think it also just has the best acting. Like, Woody Harrelson is by far the best lead actor of these 3 movies.
No,
Christian Slater, he sucks.
I wasn't. Sorry.
Dennis Hopper. The Dennis Hopper scene is one of the best scenes that Tarantino's ever written. That whole speech
Absolutely.
is so insane.
It is. That speech is
one of the funniest.
It's one of the funniest moments. And also, you want to talk about a great acted scene? It's a fantastically acted scene. And Patricia Arquette.
Patricia Arquette is good. I will give it to you. Christian Slater is not my favorite, but I like the surrounding.
But he's being Christian Slatery. That's what you get when you get Christian Slater. We all love Christian Slater.
You get bad Jack Nicholson when you get Christian Slater. Yeah.
Mike Rappaport's great. Brad Pitt's great as Floyd.
He's great. So here's my take on True Romance is everyone in that movie is so fun except for the 2 lead actors. I think Arquette and Christian Slater are really bad in it. Him especially. And she kind of just doesn't have a character. She's like, sort of like.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that's true.
At all.
I don't think that's true. And I'll tell you what scene, the Gandolfini scene forms her. That's an example of her character.
She's great in that.
She's the one, she don't give a fuck. Like, she's just supposed to be, hooker with a heart of gold, like that, but tough as nails kind of thing. And, just completely dysfunctional. And that scene with Gandolfini it's so brutal to watch, and but not just because of Gandolfini, because of her laughing during it and smiling, and just the amount of violence involved in it. Like, that I think forms her whole character for the movie.
Yeah, that's her best scene, but it doesn't really pay off anywhere. Like, she's such a nothing character for most of it. Like, she's just there to be like Tarantino's wet dream girl.
Well, let's be honest. I don't think he's good when it comes to women. We can't have him.
Yeah.
We can't give him anything.
Jackie Brown.
Yeah, Jackie Brown, but it's based on that book, so that's already a strong character.
Well, I think with True Romance, it's just the most like Tarantino worst instincts, because it's his first script. Like, it's cool, but it is definitely like the
it's
guy
apparently his most autobiographical too.
Yeah.
When that, you're like, all right, then I can see that kind of nerdiness.
Yeah, because he was obsessed with Elvis, and that guy Clarence is obsessed with Elvis.
Yeah.
But you're right, but then you also take that into let's put that up against Oliver Stone's first script or Oliver Stone's first movie he directed. Like,
sure.
Like, that talk about knocking out of the fucking park for first movie wise,
Yeah.
Look at even, like, it's better than, like, the script is it's probably a better movie than Blood Simple, and that's the first Coen script.
Okay. Yeah,
I agree.
It's of these 3, it's the one that I like the least, but it's definitely not bad. But it could have been so much better if it wasn't Christian Slater.
I think what did it for me, the reason why I put Natural Born Killers on the bottom of my list is because of what he was talking about before. The cutting back and forth at first, when that was avant-garde and when that was edgy there was a shelf life on that. That's a very 90s avant-garde thing to do. When you're like, oh my God, there is this weird, like trippy thing where they have the studio audience laughing on top of the thing, and there's video and there's this and there's that. And it was also like, even the point he was trying to make was very like that time period.
Right.
So as far as not holding up, as far as message goes, we've moved on from that. Like people are concerned about others. Like the whole media thing used to be like when they were like, putting parental advisory lyrics on things and like the whole, violence in the video games and movies. That was part of the message was like, what do we do about this violence and this is what it's influencing, whatever you want to take from it. But that was a way bigger issue back in 95 it came out? What was it, 95?
93, I think?
93. Like,
Yeah.
people kind of changed their focus after all. Not that I'm saying it changes the movie. I'm just saying like, that was like, oh my God, can you believe how shocking this is? But now we have things that have shocked people so much more.
Right.
You know?
But you're forgetting the scene where the Native American chief, warned him about coronavirus. When he said, take this, smoke this, and I will show you the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. And then Woody Harrelson cut him in half with a knife.
He's like, what's this called? He's like, DMT.
Yeah.
You knew it before. No, that's how I feel. That's why Natural Born Killers, I just kind of like, I probably haven't watched it in a long time. I'd have to rewatch it.
It's on Hulu.
But it's one of those things where also like, it's taking you all over the map. It's on Hulu. I'll check it out.
Oh yeah.
It's taking you all over the map. It's things, there's things that have been done better than it to do the same thing.
What about Tommy Lee Jones as the prison warden? He's just so out of his mind over the top. It's so
very
fun.
cartoonish. Very cartoonish.
It's great.
Real.
It's so fun.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not like unwatchable. It's a fun.
He's always losing his mind. Every time they cut to him, he is just like foaming and freaking
as far
out.
As like, as
great.
far as the point of the show, when it comes to Tarantino, like what's the best Tarantino one because we're putting up against other Tarantinos. I don't think.
Also, we haven't mentioned Tarantino hates Natural Born Killers. He hates it.
Well, because of what he did to it. I think the guy just made it a completely different thing. And I guess it's every right for him to do that because they bought the script and they made what they wanted to make. But one of those things where it's like, how do you not see he structures those movies pretty well. Like, I think Hateful Eight is the only one that I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's too long. It's too, it meanders a lot. I think Hateful Eight does that.
I like Hateful Eight.
Well, we already proven that you don't know what you're talking about. So, no, I'm not saying I like Hateful Eight because it's still, that's how strong that's how much I like Tarantino. Like, Hateful Eight, I'm like, I still liked it. It's just my least favorite Tarantino. But when it comes to Natural Born Killers, it's like once you have a better relationship with Tarantino movies than you do Oliver Stone movies, and you watch Natural Born Killers, you're hoping and you're wishing, oh my God, what the hell would he have done with this thing? Because you're right, there's so many cool things about it. You're like, imagine if you gave this to him, you gave him his original script, and you let him shoot the original script. What would he have come up with? Would that have, now, granted, it's actually probably better they didn't because he ended up making Pulp Fiction, and let's be honest, Pulp Fiction trumps all three of these movies. But I mean, you wonder. That's why I dislike Natural Born Killers, because you took away the idea of Tarantino doing another great movie with it. Because that's right up his wheelhouse, and it would have been right in his prime because it was right before Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's just Oliver Stone on steroids, really. Here's the thing I always think about Oliver Stone in comparison to Quentin Tarantino. I loved Oliver Stone movies when I was younger. I loved The Doors. I loved JFK. I loved Natural Born Killers. Any Given Sunday, I was never really a huge fan of. But then when I grew older and I just started appreciating movies and cinema more, I realized, I just go, wow, Stone makes trash. It's just the way I feel, dude.
That's kind of how I feel.
Put away childish things. Like Platoon and Born on the
Platoon's
4th of
never
July.
been one of my favorite. In the tomb of Vietnam movies, last on my list.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should do that. Best Vietnam movie.
I give Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket way ahead.
Well, Full Metal Jacket, you can argue it's two movies.
But that's still my favorite war-themed movie, I guess. I like that better than Apocalypse Now. I would go 1, 2, 3, Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, then Platoon.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Pan shot.
Deer Hunter.
Pan shot. What?
Deer Hunter.
Oh, I put Deer Hunter.
Well, that's what's his name? That's Brian De Palma, though.
No.
Oh, you're saying as far as Vietnam movies go.
That's a tough
Deer Hunter
watch.
is a tough watch. That's a tough watch, man.
We got time. If you ever gonna watch a Deer Hunter, now's the time. That's your slogan now.
Mine is, if I had to go, well, I don't want to get into it now because it actually would be a good episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Yeah.
So I won't say mine, but you already mentioned it to give you a hint of what mine is. So,
a little tease.
A little teasy.
So, is it From Dusk Till Dawn? Is that maybe the best of these three?
I would make a compromise if we all agreed on From Dusk Till Dawn is the best because it's the. Yes, you know what? I think I might have changed my mind that From Dusk Till the one I thought was like number 2 is actually number 1.
I'll admittedly say I haven't seen From Dusk Till Dawn enough. I've only watched it recently, like within the last 5 years, for the first time. I haven't had the benefit of like rewatching it and falling in love on repeat viewings.
Here's the thing about From Dusk
I've seen a million times, but I still, out of the 3, because of that reason, like True Romance the best. That's just personal opinion though.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn, this is what I'll tell you about it. That's why I think it might have edged out for me. It pulls off what it's trying to pull off the best out of all 3 of these movies.
Yeah.
So, the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, From Dusk Till Dawn is the best one out of all these movies.
When you guys saw that movie, you knew what it was about before you saw it, right?
Because of the ads.
How amazing would it have been to see that movie and not know it's going to be a vampire movie and just think
I would have loved it. Well, that was the original intent, which you know.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
Would have been, dude, 17-year-old me would have lost my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Your mind would have broken. You wouldn't be here today.
Oh, I would talk about, and then also, if they could have pulled that off, you can never pull it off now, but if they could have pulled that off, it would have, like, people would still be talking about it. That would be part of the lore of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny how Clooney and Tarantino never worked together again because you feel like they would have done some good stuff together. Clooney became kind of like a Coen Brothers favorite and just an all-around strong actor. But I would have liked to have seen them collaborate.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Good as brothers.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah, but the other thing is that I think from what who knows what goes on in these things, but like Tarantino's intense, man. You ever hear the Uma Thurman stories? Like it sounds like they're like sugarcoating it when she's like, yeah, but she was like, it was rough, but I'm sure it was like the standards of today, it's like probably insane. Like the way that he's treating people, I don't think is like. He doesn't care about your opinions when you're on his movie set, I think. I think it becomes a dictatorship. I think he's very, he's the boss. No, that's why I think these guys get it. But maybe if you're Clooney and you're in that time period and you're right off that show and you have the opportunity, and maybe you don't have an opportunity to work with him again, like it's up to Tarantino. I just heard that thing about Madsen, that he got mad at Madsen. That's why you don't see Madsen in a couple of movies because he got mad. He took, Tombstone instead of doing Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And he was going to play the Travolta part in Pulp Fiction.
That's what he wanted.
That's so nuts. It's so nuts thinking about it now, like in terms of like what a nobody Madsen has become.
You can see it though.
Yeah.
You can see it, but also I think Travolta, I think you don't have Travolta in that movie. It doesn't get the press that it got.
Nope. I don't think that movie works with Madsen.
It would have been like a really good follow-up to Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Because you would have had Sam Jackson, even at that point, was like off Goodfellas, he had a bunch of movies. He was famous at that point, right? 95.
He was like a big character actor, but he was not a movie star.
Him teamed up with Madsen, not as good as him teamed up with Travolta.
Yeah.
Like you, the kitsch that movie tries to portray, Travolta is the way to go because you're bringing this guy it's in the casting too.
Right. Yeah, that was like the story of that movie.
You have a guy with an afro and the guy from Saturday Night Fever? That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of bummed to hear that Madsen was considered for it, because I was like, oh, you just didn't have that directly in mind when you were making it? Like, that's the perfect move for that movie. So I think, honestly, from talking, even though it's not Natural Born Killers, From Dusk Till Dawn, because
it is a cool movie.
It's a cool movie and it's fun to watch. If it's on, I'll keep it on, and it pulls off exactly what it like. If you really went down to those guys and you said, is there major things you would change about this movie? Well, in my personal opinion, I don't think anything. It's almost the perfect movie like that. There's really no fad on that movie. What?
I'd probably keep all of them on if they were on.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying as far as changing, like Natural Born Killers, I have a huge beef with because I want to see Tarantino's version of it.
Right.
True Romance.
Right.
I have a huge beef with it because, I think it was done, it was shot like Lethal Weapon 2, but it's this brilliant fucking script.
Yeah,
right?
so it looked like a Michael Bay movie.
I'm fine with the way True Romance turned out.
Yeah, so am I, but because of the script. Like, you're like that.
I would have liked to have seen Tarantino direct it, though, yeah.
You've never been like, oh my god, look how Tony Scott shot this movie. It's amazing.
Right.
He's never done that. He's a utilitarian director. He's a jobber. He's a whatever, not jobber.
Well, you know who loves Tony Scott, though?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino is like one of his favorite directors.
Really?
Yeah, he loves Tony Scott.
Because of what movie?
He loves Top Gun. His favorite movie, one of his favorite movies is the Unstoppable, the train movie with Denzel.
That's a good movie, man.
It's a good movie. Tony Scott is a good director, but True Romance is not his wheelhouse. No.
Man on Fire's decent.
Man on Fire I like. Man on Fire I actually like a lot. But to be honest, look-wise, I also have an issue with Man on Fire. It's kind of shot like a music video, certain parts of it.
Yeah.
Also an underrated Tony Scott movie is Domino.
Oh, I never watched Domino with,
It's fun. It's a fun, it's a very Tony Scott movie.
Alright, so maybe, you know what? I stand corrected. Like, he does have a style, but certain ones that kind of,
The Gray?
strikes out. The Gray I didn't watch. But certain movies, it kind of strikes out. Like True Romance, he struck out, I think, as far as look of it goes. Like, it could, like Domino had a cool look to it. Just from what I've seen.
Here's a question from Dusk Till Dawn. Would that movie have been better if someone else played the Tarantino part?
Maybe.
That is like
he's not the greatest actor, obviously.
Yeah.
Who, Richard Kind? No.
Yeah. Or like Steve Buscemi. If that's Buscemi instead of Tarantino.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could put a lot of people ahead of Tarantino's acting skills.
Yeah. That's definitely the biggest part he gave himself.
Sure.
Absolutely. And maybe
Destiny
that's
turns
part
on the
that
radio.
Realize.
God, that's so bad. I tried watching that like a year or two ago. It's unwatchable.
God, that's right. Yeah, why did he do that?
Because he wanted to be a movie star.
Actually, I think his best is Jimmy. He's probably the best in Pulp Fiction.
Yes. And he's
good
bad.
That's it. He's bad. Yeah, right. But I wouldn't want you to change him out in Pulp Fiction.
No.
But if you changed him to Buscemi, and it would have been great. It would have been.
Yeah.
It would have helped like a couple of dorks.
Yeah, by the time they were making Pulp Fiction, that also might have been a part that other actors are like, why don't you do that monologue?
Yeah, true.
You do that one. You're good. You do. I don't have to be in this movie. It's fine.
That whole storage issue.
Yeah, that was. I think Chris Penn just sort of tapped out of being in the movie. He's like, no, you do it, Quentin.
Don't you point that gun at my dad!
Just gonna decide out of the fucking blue. Why don't you tell me what really happened?
He is so
you mean to tell me this very good friend of ours that did us that favor is just gonna up and decide out of the fucking blue? Stop pointing that gun at my dad! Look, Joe, I know. You're hot. You're super fucking pissed.
Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor?
You're not gonna die.
You're gonna be okay. Say the goddamn words. You're gonna be okay. Okay.
I love it. Joe, I don't think you know what you know. He's a good kid.
All right, I think that's the perfect place to end it. Us just yelling out movie lines from Reservoir Dogs.
Dude, I could do so many more. Reservoir Dogs is a fun fucking movie just to shout out.
And he goes, how many dicks is that? A lot.
That's a lot of dicks.
Look, Joe, I know. You're hot. You're super fucking pissed.
That's right.
Juicy Junior,
Harvey
real
Keitel.
juicy.
Juicy Junior, real juicy.
Lawrence Tierney's great. I could do him for fucking 10 minutes too.
He goes, why do I have to be Mr. Pink? Because you're a faggot, all right?
How about Remy
and
Martin?
that's the. That was good, dude.
How about Remy Martin? He does the hands. See that, Remy Martin?
Hands. He like closes his fist. How about Remy Martin? Did you ever
When
hear?
the job's done, I'll be pounding and hollering and laughing with you. I can't remember the quote, but it's so funny.
Did you ever hear about him? You know, he was like a nightmare to shoot with.
Yeah, didn't he pull a gun or no? On Seinfeld,
Not Seinfeld. He didn't
it
pull
was
gun.
a prop gun.
Yeah, something like that. That's why they never had him back. They had storylines for Elaine's father. They just never brought him back.
Yeah, he was so great in that episode.
He's so great in that episode. Yeah.
George and Jerry are so scared to come back there. Tell him we had crabs. He's in the army. He'll understand that. Are you kidding me? He'll clunk our heads together like Mo.
Well, in Reservoir Dogs, apparently there were a lot of scenes more scenes he was supposed to be in, and they cut him out because he was so tough to deal with on that too.
It's so crazy. But then there's a story from Chris Penn on the extras from the DVD when the 10th anniversary came out about
I think I might have that.
after everybody got cast. They wanted to have a bar. Chris Penn's like, I'm having a barbecue at my house. You know, everybody come and mingle.
Oh, yeah.
And then Lawrence Tierney came. He was there first, and like hours before the party started. And then I think he like took a butcher knife and he goes, "Can I have this?" Like, yeah, I guess. And then he was being weird all day. He was like just kind of difficult all day. And then he wouldn't leave. Like it got to be like 1 a.m, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to bed." He's like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm out here. I'm good." And he's like, "Nah, I gotta like he had to be like kick him out of his house."
He had to shoot him.
He had to shoot him, exactly. Stop pointing that gun at my dad!
I have the 10-year anniversary in my hand.
And where'd you get it signed? Who signed it?
That's just, that came on the box.
Oh, cause I went to FYE. Remember FYE?
Yes.
I went there and Kirk Baltz and Michael Madsen signed my copy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. This is great.
Oh.
Dude. It's so good.
So Reservoir Dogs is better than any of these three movies we talked about today.
Country Mile.
So the lesson is he should keep directing. Quentin Tarantino he could direct movies.
He's showing some promise.
Yeah.
What was his thing though? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was going to be his last, or?
No, that was the penultimate. So one more.
One more. Right.
What do they think he's going to do though? They don't know.
I hope he doesn't retire. I mean, he's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time.
No, meaning what movie? What do you think for his final movie?
I have no idea.
Also, he's already admitted in an interview apparently he would do a series.
Okay.
Do a TV series.
Yeah. And I wrote it's kind of strange, but remember I was talking to you about it, Pat. I was like, he should do the What Happened to Mr. Pink series after Mr. Pink.
Ooh, great one.
There's a lot of good ideas for shows that he could do, but come on, movies are better than TV.
I'm with Pat. I don't think he should do a series.
Unique too.
No, don't take that step down.
No,
Michelangelo doesn't start doing coloring.
But Pat, a lot of people are thinking that it's not a step down anymore. Now they're thinking it's like flipping in as far as like prestige goes.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some great things, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, then probably The Wire. But I mean,
I think movies are harder to do. It's harder to make an amazing movie than it is an amazing TV show, I think.
It depends. I mean, if you set out and like the shows we mentioned earlier and your arc over 5 or 6 seasons and can wrap it up and do it, like you can't do it like Lost did where they're like, this is such an amazing show and then they just lost control of the ship.
That's most of the business though.
What's that?
That's most of the business. They're all,
I agree.
They're slaves to ad revenue. So they don't know. And now it's changing, but that's the way it was for 50 years.
But I mean, The Wire, Sopranos, and Breaking Bad, those are like 100 little movies. You know what I mean? Each one is, beautifully shot.
Yeah, but there's a lot of dead weight. If you have a perfectly encapsulated movie with no fat from start to finish.
I agree.
You have Goodfellas. Right. Like, I think Goodfellas beats that beats, like, not that you can compare.
Of course. I agree.
Well,
listen, I'm still a movie fanatic way more than a TV fanatic. This show ain't called Defend Your TV Series, all right?
Exactly.
Hey, goddamn right. All right, let's go to pluggy plugs here.
All right, sir.
Pat, what would you like to plug? You have your own movie podcast, which I've been on.
Well, you were on, we've rebranded.
Oh, rebranded, right.
Totally rebranded. We used to be How to Watch Movies the Right Way. We'd review movies, but we've taken a step beyond that. We've become, so months ago we became a new podcast called The B.O. Boys, where myself
Brooke, ladies and gentlemen.
myself and Clayton Gumbert, we just talk about that week's weekend movie box office. So we're continuing to do that, even though movie box office does not exist anymore in our current climate.
True.
There are no more movies. But somehow, every week, we still take a look at that weekend box office.
And what are you on Twitter and Instagram?
I don't use any. Just look up the B.O. Boys podcast on your podcast app.
Okay,
That's
cool.
it.
And Andy, what do you want to plug there, buddy?
Well, you can always listen to my Sirius XM show. It's called The Raw Report. It is every Thursday at 4 p.m. We have a great show for you this week. By the time you hear this, it'll have aired yesterday, but you can listen on demand. We had Mr. Bob Saget and Joey Pants, Ralph Cifaretto, Joe Pantoliano, both returning guests to the show. So check that out.
I'm at Show Anytime on Instagram and Twitter, and I have a show on Sirius Raw Dog 99 called Celebrate that I do every week. That we've been doing Zoom episodes, so check that out. And I'm SeanDonnellyComedy.com. Thank you, and Defenders, remember this: rate, review, and subscribe. Let us know. Tweet at us, because we've been having people tweet at us about what they think of the shows and giving great matchups.
We write back.
There was a guy. What?
We write back.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll write back. There was a great suggestion given by somebody that we're going to do. But most of all, review the show on iTunes, because
those numbers up.
It helps us tremendously. It'll help get the word out about the podcast. For listening. Pat, thank you for doing this, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat.
Did you have fun, Pat?
Yes, it's great. Yes, it's really
I think
fun.
we decided at the end that From Dusk Till Dawn is, or the scene in the car from Reservoir Dogs beats all these movies.
Yes, I think Reservoir Dogs is the best of these movies.
And Pat, I just want to tell you, you're gonna be okay!
We had three
You're gonna be okay!
We had the meats, the potatoes, and a side salad this week. 3 dishes.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Right, Andy?
Yes, sorry, there's only one episode this week. We had a bandwidth problem on the website because we were cranking out 2 a week. They just couldn't handle the movie madness. So, we'll be back to 2 as soon as our producer can figure out the bandwidth. I think we just probably got to buy some more. But, thank you guys for always bearing with us and tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.